So hello my friends, Devon Lennox, PhotographyPX. In today's video, we're gonna take you behind the scenes for an exclusive interview with our model for today's shoot. All right, so here we are. This is Alexis, and she's the model for our shoot that we're doing today. She has kind of a niche background that most people don't kind of have because she's a model and also a photographer. So definitely a unique perspective that we're gonna kind of have and interview her today on, I guess really her mindset when it comes to other photographers reaching out to her for work. Because that's kind of what I did. You know, I reached out to her and I was like, hey, I like your style and your vibe and stuff like that. She has great work too as well, but yeah, I like that. And I reached out and I was like, yeah, I saw one of my friends who shot her just kind of published her work, and I was like, whoa, who's that model? And I was like, gotta reach out to this girl. Not knowing she was a photographer, right? So that was interesting, but yeah. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit about her background, but I wanna ask her a little bit about her mindset because again, she has that kind of duality that most models won't have. They're not gonna be photographers as well and have that background and be shooting and kind of understand the workflow that we kind of go through. But I definitely want to ask her a little bit about her mindset when it comes to other photographers reaching out to her for her to then be a model, which is very interesting. So Alexis, the first question I have for you, what do you look for when you're reaching out to a new photographer? So say you're just like, okay, I want to build my modeling portfolio. I don't really want to shoot myself and do self-portraits, but I want someone else to shoot me that has a certain vision or I like their style. What are you kind of looking for since you have that kind of background as a photographer already? Like what do you kind of look for?
Sure. I'm looking more for just a unique, again, vision or mood that I know that I wouldn't be able to convey myself. So I don't necessarily consider myself like a pro photographer or certainly not like a portrait photographer. I'm not photographing models per se. So for me, really, it's just kind of reaching out in a creative sense of just appreciating the work and not necessarily being like moved, you know, tremendously, but I do want to feel something when I look at their photographs. And if I do approach a photographer, I feel like it is an extension of, you know, my respect. And obviously, you know, to capture my image in a way that I think would be cool, you know, not necessarily flattering, like sometimes with certain vibe photographers too, like it's either weird or really moody, and I still respect that as well. So.
I see what you're saying, yeah. So yeah, you want to kind of put your own twist, like with you as I guess you as a subject in that kind of person's vision. Though.
I'm kind of looking for something that like pops out as far as a photographer is concerned. And their style.
Wow, that's awesome. That's cool. So the next question, do you like when photographers have mood or concept boards, or do you think it's better to improv? And that kind of goes with your style a little bit as well as with the way that you shoot. Like, what do you kind of prefer? Do you prefer us having mood boards for when we reach out to you, or you reach out to us and we're starting to kind of build that, okay, like this is what we're doing this day when we have our shoot? Like, how do you feel about that?
I like mood boards, and I kind of relate it to music too, right? Like you put yourself in a mood if you're listening to, you know, a certain song. And I think the creativity as a model, which I consider more like a catalyst for someone's vision, right? I feel like it's, at least in my part, my duty to kind of execute that, and almost like acting, almost like film, like you're taking on this role, and the mood board helps you kind of develop that whatever idea in your head. I mean, my idea may be different than the photographer's, even though he or she has a mood board. But I appreciate the mood boards as opposed to just kind of winging it. Although winging it could be, you know, insanely fun. And something really cool could come out of that as well. So
yeah, I would say for me, like I agree with that. It's just like it's important to have like a mood board maybe for the first shoot, and then you wing it. Is like, okay, like I've connected with this person. I kind of know how they work and their style and their quirks a little bit.
Sure, and the direction may change even with the mood board, right?
That's always true, that's true.
And seeing the evolution of that vision as well is fun too. So it could go into something completely different, but I like the setting the tone. That way I can kind of be imaginative and do my own part when it comes to that.
Okay, yeah, I love that. That's awesome. Okay, so Do you think it's important to meet with a photographer prior to shooting? Like, as photographers, you didn't meet me, we didn't have coffee. So just putting that out as a caveat, we did not meet prior to our shoot today. So sometimes that happens. I've met some of the models that I've shot. It's very rare, but it's happened, yes.
Yeah, no, I don't feel it's necessary. Again, the essential meeting was really kind of looking at your work and wanting to go into that. And for me, not to say that like the personhood is auxiliary, right? Like I do care about the photographer as a person as well, but I think what they have to say is through their art form. Yeah. And I don't think it's necessary to me. It doesn't make me feel more comfortable. Like I'm not uncomfortable meeting you for the first time in a shoot, right? Like at the location, at the shoot. So I don't think it's necessary.
Okay, fair enough. That's pretty cool. Okay. If a photographer reaches out to you, how should that initial first message sound? I mean, my message was just kind of casual, like, hey, I'm sorry, works, like that. And then you're just like basically asking what's the idea, like what's the mood. That's kind of how we started. It's like super casual. But like if like say it wasn't me, like I didn't have this grandiose, I don't have a grandiose like workflow or whatever, like on my Instagram or whatever. I don't have a huge catalog of work, but say if they didn't really have something like that, they're super established and they're reaching out to you and you're like, what would that first message kind of sound? Should we start with like compliment, like, hey, we like this, here's our idea. Should we just go right to the idea? Like,
yeah, if they didn't have a set kind of, I guess, portfolio.
Like a style, they're still developing that.
I don't know. I feel like I approach most, I guess, meetings or approaches in that sense very intuitively, in the sense that, if someone's reaching out, if I like something about their work, something, even if it's not an expansive, portfolio, I feel like, I don't know, intuitively, I really don't have an answer for that, right? Like, as long as they seem professional and it's not just like, hi, like, let's shoot. Like, that's it, right? Yeah. Having a sort of premise or like, I like this about your look. That way I can know that I can also contribute to the working relationship of the potential shoot, if that makes any sense. Yeah,
okay, I got you, yeah. So you just like grab onto something and you're like, let's give this person a shot, as long as they're not like weird or anything like that. But
Sure, yeah. Professionalism is key as well, or at least approachability. Yeah. Being cool. I don't know if that's enough.
If a photographer is new, what do you think would help them when it comes to reaching out to models for the first time?
I think people should put themselves out there in any sort of art respect. As far as reaching out, I don't think someone needs to be. I don't think they should approach anything with trepidation. I think they should go completely all out for it. So ask the model, or just reach out to them. Honestly, just reach out. Yeah. I feel like, because models obviously enjoy modeling, and maybe they're looking for an opportunity to do something creative. Maybe they've just been doing something blasé or like just agency work that is not I guess appealing to their sensibility, right, or their creativity, and just reaching out, maybe taking a chance, I feel. Yeah. But then again, like, as someone who takes pictures, I don't approach necessarily models, so I don't know. Yeah, so right? I don't necessarily shoot people, so.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. I like that. Yeah. Just going for it, that's kind of what I did. I just went for it. Yeah, that's just sent the message, right? After, I'm not saying it is a numbers game, but you can look at it that way. It is a numbers game, especially when you're starting out. It's just like, just go for it. You have nothing to lose. You only have something to gain after a certain point, because you just have to get started.
Exactly.
You're going to be bad in the beginning. Just accept that you're going to be bad.
And I think it's in any, again, art form or realm, really surprising how people will engage that, right? Like how
you never know.
They want to work, or how they want to just experiment for fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's kind of what I've realized too. It's just like you just do all sorts of crazy ideas just to try them, just because it's new for everyone that's involved, and it's just it's a unique experience at the end of the day. So as a model, where do you think are good places for photographers to find local models or people to potentially shoot? Should we just go to Model Bam? Do we just keep on going down that train? It's like Instagram only, or?
Right. Well, social media is very interesting. Yeah. And additionally, I feel like there's a lot of beauty in people that isn't necessarily broadcasted through like being in an agency or being a professional model, right? Like I feel that photographers can approach models in the sense of like, or trying to find a model in the sense of like just trying to find beauty, whether it's on social media, agencies, again, like mixers, or just putting yourself out there. As someone who isn't necessarily social, that I mean, I'm giving advice on something I'm not really, keen on, but as someone who is a model, I guess when people reach out in any capacity, whether it's through social media, in person, through friends, through what have you, willing to again engage that too. So I don't know where photographers find models, but
yeah, honestly, sometimes you just go to the mall. Sometimes you just see someone cool and you just want a business card.
Actually, most of the most famous models were found in that way. Like Kate Moss at airport, right? Yeah. She wasn't even signed, and she became the biggest '90s model. So
yeah, exactly right. You never know. I mean, I guess that raises another question. Like, if you're new, you may not have a business card, so there's that whole gray area of like developing your brand and your style, and you have to kind of go through that as well. But once you kind of get established and you have a style and you have a creative, I guess you figure out how, as a creative, you express yourself. Then after that point, you can totally just meet people anywhere, really, honestly.
Right. Yeah.
Because you never know what comes from that. People are just sometimes excited to just do something new, like you're talking about. So as a model, what are some of your pet peeves or your turnoffs with working with a new photographer? Things you're just like, just gripe, you're just like, oh, he did that, or she did that. Yeah. I
wouldn't necessarily say that I have any other than stoicism, trying to come off as too cool or too professional. It doesn't bother me. I just like the working relationship. So I like feedback. I like direction. When photographers kind of hold back from that, again, like whether they're just trying to be cool or stoic, I just feel very uncomfortable, right? Like, I want you to tell me if you don't like it. I want you to tell me if you like it, or if you need me to do something. I work very heavily off of direction. Yeah. So I wouldn't say it's a pet peeve or anything, but when people don't give direction or don't, aren't vocal, that's when things become weird for me.
Fair enough. I've gotten that from a couple models too. Yeah, a lot of people do like direction. They like that insight into what we're thinking in that moment, and what we're trying to capture, and how you guys can best serve that vision. Basically, what it comes down to. So yeah, I like that. That's true. Everyone struggles with the vocalism too. It's like, because like when you're shooting, you're not really sure either. Everyone has to go through a gray, like awkward phase when you start shooting, especially if it's like just one look, or it's the first time you're working with someone new. You have to go through that awkward phase. It's just part of what happens when you shoot with someone new. Every single shoot is like that. Like, the best photos that I've ever gotten are from look 2, 3, 4. They're never from look 1. That's just the truth, is because we have to, like, everyone has to get comfortable. They have to figure out the vibe. They kind of have to go through a little bit of the awkwardness. They have to kind of get in the mood, Right. They kind of have to loosen up a little bit. And then from there, then you can start to create. But that sometimes that process right there could be a half an hour of shooting.
Oh, definitely, yeah. So it's a gradual warming.
Yeah, there's a very long warm-up time. Yeah. But then after that, and you've worked out the kinks, then you can create the images that are in magazines and all this stuff. Like, it's totally doable, but it takes a little bit of persistence, right, to get to that point. So that's definitely what I've heard. Yeah. So you gotta work at it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's definitely not easy, but the communication, I feel like, develops through that process. As you kind of, okay, like, this is what we're doing today. Here's kind of the checkpoints. We're gonna get food here, and we'll like kind of reset ourselves, and then we'll go back in, and that's what then leads to more communication as everyone warms up and gets comfortable.
Or the silent communication, again, like that kind of awkwardness that happens during the first, I don't know, maybe a few minutes of the shoot. Yeah. Kind of gauging each other's style and way of kind of shooting and modeling, and so.
Yeah, I love that. That's great. I love that mindset. And yeah, you have a very unique mindset, because you do shoot, so you're familiar with some of the camera things. So, you have a little bit of insight on, like, as a photographer, I know you don't shoot portraits and stuff like that and people, but you have a little bit of insight on that process. Because you're creative in that way. You're a visual arts person as well in that way. And most models don't have that perspective. It's very unique to be like, okay, I have my own portfolio too, but like, I'm trying to put the model up, and I'm building that as well. And you have that duality, which is super unique. Most people don't have that. I know like a handful of people that are doing that. Very, very rare out of most of the models. So that's awesome. But yeah, those are the only questions that I have. So I hope you guys added some value to you guys interviewing her, and it was awesome. I really got some really great insight as well out of that. And you know, if you're new here, please consider subscribing if you haven't already. We'd love to have you as part of the team. Join the family. Leave a like and a comment down in the description below if you want me to, you know, reach back out to Alexis and ask her any specific questions that you think that we missed. You know, I only ask so many questions here. We only have so much time, but if you want me to follow up with her, by all means, absolutely. Let me know in the comments down below. And Devon Lennox here, PhotographyPX, your host. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace out, my friends.